Welcome back, everybody, to Bats and Stats presented by ScoutTheStatline.com. I am, as always, Brian, my compadre, Ross Jensen, and we got a special guest tonight. The doctor is in the house, Ryan Epperson. How you doing, Ryan?
Wonderful, wonderful.
You look
you
good.
Have to call him not Doc. Not Doc.
Surgical assistant. Yeah, clinical surgical assistant, Ryan Epperson. And I guess I can't call you Doc now because here's a little bit of a tidbit that's coming down the pipeline is we have a new writer on board as well at Scout the Statline. Am I right on this? And his name's Doc.
He is Doc. Yeah,
he is Doc. So I can't call you Doc now. So that really sucks. That's okay. We can go surgical assistant. We'll do SA Ryan. How's that?
Perfect.
SA Ryan.
SA.
So
SA
Ryan. So tonight, guys. Tonight we've already burned through the catchers. We've burned through the first baseman. Tonight we are bringing you second basemen's top 10 second basemen by ScoutTheStatline.com. I'm excited about this group. Second base is kind of a black hole pit as far as the major league system is concerned. So these guys might be shining a bright future on what we got at second base. So could be a lot of value here, fellas. I'm pretty excited.
This is an interesting list. It's an interesting one. There's some surprises on here, which I always find fun. And there's some interesting, notable omissions as well.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about Connor Norby. We're not going to talk about Nick York. We're not going to talk about Justin Foscue or Nick Gonzalez or Oslavis Basabe, among others.
Man, it hurts my heart not to talk about Foscue. I am a Foscue lover. I got him. I think I got him in every single league that I'm in. I have to have Foscue.
I tell you, Norby and York were both very close to the top 10, but as I was going through, I was really validating positions, and there's some interesting names that popped up that took their places. So we'll see if that turns out to be the truth.
Okay, well, without further ado, I mean, we've already been talking for a couple minutes here, and we haven't even talked about our beers, and that is uncalled for. Absolutely uncalled for. So would you like me to go first? Ryan, are you just drinking some Blue Dolphins?
Just water tonight.
Blue Dolphins. You got to hydrate, especially on Mondays. So I'll go first. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go first. Tonight, fellas and ladies and gentlemen, everybody listening around the world, I have here we go. It just says IPA, but it's by Goose Island. And that's a little bit of I have 3 of them.
Foreshadowing.
It's foreshadowing. I have 3 of them. So what do goose turn into as a plural? Geese.
Geese.
We'll get there. We will get there.
All right, Goose Island IPA.
Yep. It doesn't have a cool name, just IPA. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm sure it's going to be delicious.
All righty. Nice thick head. You need that. Big gulp. All right. What's the verdict?
It's a great IPA. If you don't like IPAs, you're not going to like that beer. If you like IPAs, it's going to be terrific. Very hoppy, of course. Straightforward hops right in your mouth. They punch you in the face with hops. I like it. It's an acquired flavor. If you don't like IPAs, it'll take like 15 of them before you're like, okay, these are pretty good. I like it.
15. That's a night's work.
I mean, in general, when you can't take a sip of an IPA right off the bat and say, wow, I'm gonna fall in love with IPAs. It's an acquired taste. It's probably Ryan probably knows that you're a big bourbon and Scotch and stuff like that, right? So it takes a while to get that taste in your mouth before you say, "Wow, that's really good." Yeah. Matter of fact, I went down to kind of a hoity-toity restaurant here in Billings this weekend and had an old-fashioned and a Manhattan.
There you go.
Man, we sat there for 3 hours just kind of bullshitting, talking, having a good time. I only had one Manhattan and one old-fashioned. Yeah. And I could have drank my weight in beer in 3 hours. Like it would have been no problem.
Perfect.
Yeah, I sipped on them all night. They were terrific. They were great flavored. So I might be transitioning just a little bit into some bourbons. I'm gonna have to call Ryan and ask him about some bourbons and stuff to drink. Or maybe I'm gonna have to find some stuff up here in Billings and then send them to him. I don't know yet.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, good beer. Goose Island IPA. Geese Island. Ross, go ahead, get your beer in, man.
We'll get there. Okay. So here's my beer tonight. It's got a nice artistic can here. That's somebody saying hello. This is called, I got to make sure I don't go out of the screen here. This is called Personal Space. Now, what's going on the back end? There's kind of like a zombie thing coming after her. Personal Space. Okay, so this is from Anchorage Brewing Company. It's a triple India Pale Ale. So we're doing the IPAs tonight. I don't think I've ever had a triple IPA. So this is uncharted territory for me. It says it's brewed with DDH with Phantasm powder, Nelson Sauvin, and Sabro hops. So those are 3 different hop variants. I anticipate this is going to be maltier rather than hoppier because of all the hops. Typically, that's what happens when you get a double IPA. So I'm assuming with the triple, it's going to be more so. Let's check it out.
What does a double IPA mean?
So it's, as far as I understand, it's brewed with twice as many hops, but typically the fermentation process is longer or something, and so it ends up being maltier because I don't know. I don't know enough about brewing to talk about this with much authority, but as far as I understand, is there's more sugars that are processed in them in the process of brewing a double. All right. It's lighter than I was anticipating. Let's try it out.
Looks like something I would love.
That's very hazy, huh?
Yeah.
That is really good. And not at all really very hoppy. So definitely more maltier than you would expect from, an IPA in general. But yeah, it hit the note as I expected. This is 10%. It's a strong one.
Nice.
It's a strong one. So let's get it going.
Good stuff. I'm assuming it's Alaska. You said Anchorage, right?
Anchorage Brewing Company.
Guessing that's Alaska.
Gotta be.
Anchorage. This says Anchorage right there. Anchorage Brewing Company.
I believe Goose Island. Oh, Goose Island is in Chicago, Illinois, Baldwinsville, New York, and Fort Collins, Colorado.
Boy, I tell you, this is a good beer, though. I heartily recommend this. This is easy to drink too, which means it's going to be dangerous.
Nice.
At 10%, does not at all taste boozy. Not very bitter. Like that's going to be a dangerous one.
Good. The only Ross I like is a tipsy Ross.
All right, Brian, how do we get this thing started?
Well, we're going to jump right into it. you already did our omits. Some guys that just missed out on the list that would have been fun to talk about. But we got 10 guys that I'm excited to talk about, and we're going to blow right into it right now. Oh, well, actually, before we do that, we've already got through Thanksgiving. We are only a week and a half? Yeah, week and a half, a couple days till Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah,
I gotta say, Halloween is my favorite holiday. I kind of get juiced up for it because of the kids. But my second favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. I'm an eater. I like to eat all kinds of. I mean, just put it all on a plate and let me scramble it together, and just shovel it in my mouth. My wife is not that way. My wife has to have everything separated. Nothing can touch. Not me, man. I'm piling it together. I'm just a garbage disposal when it comes to food. And I am a foodie. I like that stuff. Do you guys have big plans? Is it just family stuff? What do you guys got going?
So I'll go first, but Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
Nice.
And we tend to do more friends-focused Thanksgivings than we do direct family sort of Thanksgivings, at least over the last, 5 years or so. It's kind of what we've done. But this year, I'm thinking that it's going to be pretty low key for me. I'm probably just going to be me and the kids. I do have kids. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before on here, but I do have kids, and we're going to do Thanksgiving locally. We might have some friends coming to town. It'll be fun.
Nice. Yeah, I like Thanksgiving too. Don't really do a whole lot anymore. Parents live near me, but they visit my sister in North Carolina around this time. So just keep it small. Enjoy the time off.
Yeah, for sure.
That sounds nice.
So one more thing about Thanksgiving, and I might get bashed a little bit on this, but I hate turkey. I hate turkey.
What? You just ruined it, man.
Oh,
Turkey's
no.
the best.
No, I have a ham.
You do hams? Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
It's a ham.
Give me that salted ham, baby. And I'm gonna use it as the vessel. Like, I'll make tacos out of the ham and just put mashed potatoes and crab salad and everything on there. Yeah.
You could have at least said, you roast a huge ribeye or something. I don't know.
I won't say that I hate ham, but it's like chicken to me. It's like
turkey.
Chicken.
You mean?
What's that? Or turkey?
You like ham, right? Okay.
I love ham. Turkey. It's like chicken to me. Whatever kind of if you inject it or if you whatever you do with it, it tastes like the spices that you put on it. It's such a neutral flavor to me. I'm just not a big fan.
Have you ever had a fried turkey?
Yeah, we do one every year.
And still You're not blown away by it? Oh, man.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of fried turkey.
Really? Oh, man. It's so juicy and delectable.
Yeah. So do you guys have favorite side dishes? Because that's what it's all about, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a mashed potatoes guy. Like, mashed potatoes is my thing. I got to have perfect, creamy mashed potatoes. That's my one deal. I love stuffing, too. I mean, I love it all, but, like, those are the important ones for me.
I'm a big fan of green bean casserole.
That's mine, too.
Canned green beans, cream of mushroom soup.
Yep. That's mine too. With the fried onion straws on top.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm all about the green bean casserole.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. And then I'm a pie guy too. I love pies.
Yeah.
Any kind of pie. It doesn't matter what kind of pie. I'm crushing it. I hate cake, but I'm crushing it.
I hate pumpkin.
No,
pecan?
Pecan, yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
You can only have a little bit though.
Sweet.
It's not my favorite of the types of pies, but yeah, I'm good with it. I like, I don't know, a good cherry pie is good. Apple pie is good. They're all good. Yeah, they're all good.
My uncle makes a banana cream pie that is.
There you go.
It's unreal. And he has the meringue on top and he toasts it.
Pumpkin pie is trash though.
I like pumpkin pie. You don't like pumpkin pie?
I have to have one slice of it every year.
I I'll have a piece, but I'll just pile Cool Whip on top.
Yeah.
So you can't see it.
We should just do a top 10 of Thanksgiving side dishes.
Yeah, forget second baseman.
Okay.
Top 10 pies. Top 10 pies.
There you go. I apologize on getting off on that tangent, but it needed to happen. Ross said it's his favorite holiday. Ryan, it sounds like it's up there for you as well. And it's my second favorite holiday. So it needed to happen. We had to have that little debate there right for a second. But let's dive into it. Let's get into the top 10 second basemen on scoutthestatline.com. The first one we're going to jump into is a personal favorite of mine. He was kind of a discovery of our league for me. And his name is Hao-Yu Lee. And Hao-Yu Lee is 5'9", 190 pounds. He's 20 years old. He came out of New Taipei, Taiwan. And his profile's good. Let's put it that way. It's good. It's not going to blow you out of the water, but let's run through it here real quick. I'm going to lump it all together. If you guys want to break it down year by year, you certainly can, but I'm going to lump it all into the 607 at-bats that he's had over 3 years since 2021. He's got 607 at-bats. His average is 282. On-base percentage of 376, slugging 432 with an on-base plus slugging of 808. He has 16 home runs, 30 stolen bases. He has been caught 12 times. He has struck out 137 times and walked 79, 31 doubles, and 6 triples. I am a huge fan of him. I think he's only just scratching the surface. I've read a lot about him. Things that have been said is he's not a speed guy. The 30 steals that he does have are kind of not a farce, but maybe inflated a little bit. Yeah, it's telling that he's been caught 12 times. But I think he's got good power, not great power, but to 10, 15 home runs a year, maybe a little bit higher than that, and a 280 average. I'm super excited for him, and he did get traded to my Tigers. I'm super excited. Do you guys have anything on Hao-Yu Lee?
So I'll take the first stab at it. He was one of our top 10s last year.
Yep.
I was looking for a big breakout this year that I don't think we got, and actually, I would probably characterize it as a somewhat disappointing season. He started out repeating high A after finishing there last year, and he stayed there through the whole season. And that's part of why I feel like it was a somewhat disappointing year. He does have really good plate discipline. I think there is some decent power in there, even though he only had 6 home runs this year and about a half a season's worth of plate appearances. I think there is a little bit more juice there that he can tap into. As you mentioned, speed is probably not going to be a big part of his game. He's projecting for, you said 10 to 15 home runs, and he's projecting for 11, so right there. But the plate discipline is the thing that really is carrying the profile, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If I were to add anything else, it's that he gets a comp on STS to Aaron Boone, which I think is a really nice comp. And if he has that kind of outcome, obviously that's somebody you want on your team.
Yeah. So I prefaced the whole segment that we're doing tonight on second baseman being a pretty big black hole in the MLB. And I think Hao-Yu Lee with this profile would boost that profile immensely. I think he would be a starter instantly for the Tigers in 2 years. But the Tigers don't just have Hao-Yu Lee. They have some other players on their farm. One that we're going to talk about tonight that, might block him a little bit. But Ryan, do you have anything on Hao-Yu Lee that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I like Ross. I think he has a little bit more power potential than he has shown so far. It looks like he's not pulling the ball nearly enough, especially in the air. Uh, Obviously, if you can get to that, then you can, like you said, 10, 15 home runs. I can see him hitting eventually. But I mean, he's not that great of a fielder. I think he's going to have a tough time breaking through.
Sure.
Because if he doesn't play second, he doesn't have the arm for third or short. Then you're looking at corner outfielder, and that's the profile doesn't play well in a corner outfield spot. Yeah. But it's the Tigers, so who knows?
But that was a jab.
Well, I think we've talked about this before. I've picked the Tigers to win the AL Central in 24, so I guess I'm not too low on them.
Yep.
But no, he's still really young. So I mean, 20 years old, and he's coming over. He's only been in the States for what, 2 years. Most of it was during COVID. So I'm willing to give him a chance.
And you said it perfectly right there. He's 20 years old. He'll be 21 on February 3rd, 2024. We might be seeing double-A stats next year as a 21-year-old. Yeah, matter of fact, I think that's a given. We're going to see double-A stats.
I'll get to go see him. I'm right there in Erie, so.
Hell yeah. Nice. I would love to hear a breakdown on how you lead. I'm a fan. But I want to hammer this home. I think he's a good player. Sure. I do not think he's a great player. Not yet, at least. He could certainly surprise me. I think he's a solid all-around player.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that he has dropped a little bit in these rankings, these top 10 rankings from last year, which isn't a great sign, but also he's still in the top 10.
He's still,
yeah.
Algorithm sees something.
To me, for me, he's a go get him. And I say that because I think he's an everyday MLB player. I think he's just going to be solid. He's going to hurt your team. He's not going to quite help your team, but he's not going to, beat it up. For me, he's a go get him. You guys, I'm sure you're kind of a watch and see.
He's not going to cost you much. So in fact, you could call him maybe a buy low potential, but don't give up an asset to gain a question mark. That's my stance on it.
No, he's the perfect guy for a throw-in that you need, just to push it over the top, right? And I love going after the guys like that.
Yeah. I like that. That's a really good comment as a throw-in player, and a valuable throw-in player.
Because what the other owner is going to do is he's going to go to Fangraphs and look at, he's in high A again and didn't hit as well as last year. You can most of the time snag somebody pretty cheap like that.
Yep.
Agreed. Love it. All right, let's dive into number 9. Number 9 is going to be a little bit of an unknown for me. He not an unknown, but he's just not somebody that I've kept my eye on as much as I should have. But that is Juan Brito. Juan Brito is 5'11", 202 pounds. He's 22 years old with the Cleveland Guardians. He was born 9/24 in 2001 in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. I'm going to let you guys break this down. Ross, would you like to break down the stats on this one?
Sure. Yeah, so Juan Brito started his career actually going back in 2019 at the DSL level at age 17. Showed really good plate discipline, walking more than he struck out. Really good numbers across the board. Again, it's DSL, so I don't put a ton of stock into that. He followed that up after the COVID break in 2021 at the rookie level, again, putting up solid numbers, really good plate discipline, which is one of his calling cards. I'm just going to call that out. Only 3 home runs, 5 stolen bases. Then last year walking more than he struck out at the single A level. He had a 286, 407, 470 slash line with 11 home runs and 17 stolen bases. Doesn't look like speed is going to be a big part of his game, even though he had those stolen bases. Fast forward to this year, is 21 age season. He was getting some helium this year. In fact, there was a lot of people saying he was going to be, a big breakout. And I think he sort of reached that level, sort of. I don't think he was the big breakout that people were expecting him to be. But overall this year, he slashed 271 with a 377 OBP and a 434 slugging percentage. He walked 78 times and struck out 88 times. So again, really good plate discipline, only striking out in 16% of his aggregate plate appearances. And he did that across high A, double A, and he had a little bit of time. Most of it was at double A, a little bit of time at triple A. So he really did move through the ranks. What I think you can expect from Juan Brito is some pretty decent power and really good plate discipline. Yeah. I don't think you're going to get a lot of speed from him, but those are the makings of I think, a major league caliber second baseman.
For sure. No, I agree. Like you said, he has good plate discipline. I think he has a little bit more power than someone like Hao-Yu Lee. But he's a switch hitter, so it's always a toss-up to see what that'll look like once he gets up to the majors. A lot of switch hitters tend to struggle. But man, he's, like Ross was saying, he got a little helium this year and he kind of broke out. But then he's kind of just building on what he's always done.
Yeah.
So who knows? He'll start the year off in AAA, and they got a pretty good second baseman in Cleveland already. So might be hard to fit him in, but certainly possible. See sometime maybe next year.
Yeah, he'll be 23. He'll be 22 years old all of next year. So he's got plenty of time to figure this out and see what Cleveland's going to do at second base. Obviously, you got the blocker there, so thank you for bringing that up. My big concern here would be the caught stealing. I'd like to know what is happening right there. He's been caught stealing 24 times, and he's stole 41 bases. That's interesting to me. Why they either are sending him still, or if he just has a free pass. Is he fast and doesn't have the timing down? I really like looking at the stolen bases stuff because I just don't understand it. Some guys are just talented at it, and some guys are slow and they're talented at it.
Well, and you got to remember, for minor leagues and prospects, they might just want them to run to learn how to steal bases, and they don't necessarily care about the results. Fangraphs grades him at a 35 speed. Okay. So obviously he's not a burner, but it might just be something in the Cleveland system where they want him to work on it.
Is that 35 out of 60?
80.
It's 80. Okay.
Yeah. Scouting scale is 20 to 80.
20 to 80. Thank you. But yeah, the power looks good. Walk ratio to strikeout ratio looks good. I don't have anything bad to say about him. I think he's a lot like Hao-Yu Lee. I think he's very safe.
One thing I would add here is that he might be the victim of some bad luck too. He's got his BABIP has been pretty low. So there is potential that even though he had that kind of breakout we were talking about, that it was stunted a little bit by bad luck. So just another little tidbit to add there. We'll see a couple of those guys in here. I would say he actually doesn't project all that well by STS's standards. And some of that of what they're seeing in his ranking is he got bad luck. And he was 21, and he made it up to AAA. So that's promising as well.
Sure.
One last thing I would add on here is he garners a comp to a former top prospect, Lonnie Chisenhall.
Loved Lonnie. Man, Lonnie was a go-get-em for a long time.
He was known for a sweet stroke. Didn't quite turn into major league production, unfortunately.
That's a fun name to talk about. I really liked Lonnie Chisholm for a lot of years. He was also a Cleveland Guardian, Cleveland Indian at the time. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yep.
That's a fun one. I like it. Okay, let's dive into the next one, guys. Number eight right. Coming in on Scout the Statline's second baseman, top 10 second baseman, is going to be Luke Keschall. I'm going to say that correctly, I believe. Keschall. That's going to be high A affiliate for a 21-year-old, 6'1", 190 pounds. He was drafted in 2023 by the Minnesota Twins in round 2, picked 49 overall, born 8/15/2002 in Watsonville, California. He really walked through the minors this year. To tell you the truth, he only had 7 at-bats at the rookie level, and then 72 at-bats at A, and then got promoted to high A for 32 at-bats. So he had 111 at-bats throughout the year for a draftee of this year. So a pretty decent sample size, really. I mean, we usually see 49, 70 at-bats, but 111 already this year. That's a good start to his minor league career, to tell you the truth. And overall, he had 111 at-bats, averaged 288, on base 414, slugged 477, and on base plus slugging of 891, 3 home runs, 11 stolen bases, 10 doubles, 1 triple, strikeouts, 25-19 walks. It's a pretty decent start to a minor league career. Do you guys want to? He came out of Arizona State. Do you want to talk about anything that he did at Arizona State?
So I'll start there. I don't know, Ryan. Do you have anything specific to highlight from his college playing days?
No, I was looking at some of the highlights and before we got on here, and he has a little weird swing, which doesn't mean much. I mean, I'm not a swing evaluator, but it's a little goofy, which can always be panned out in the majors. But I mean, I like it, and it was working for him. This doesn't have anything to do with Arizona State, but he's more of a power speed guy that can take a walk. And I think with him walking so much in the complex league and low A this year, it's just more to do with he's an advanced college hitter. So he's, it's probably a little below his league. So when he got to high A, he kind of started taking more pitches and then swinging.
Yeah.
So
I like your analysis. I'd say that sounds pretty spot on, almost mimics what I would have said if I was speaking first. I think he had a pretty solid time in the NCAAs. He started at San Francisco, it looks like, in the West Coast Conference, and then transferred to Arizona State. His numbers were probably best that last year at Arizona State. He came out at just 20, which is interesting. Pretty young for a junior.
Was he a JUCO?
No, he was at San Francisco.
Okay. I didn't know if that was a JUCO.
No, they're a bigger school than a junior college anyway, but they're a small school, right? They're not
D2 is what we used to call it.
Yeah. San Francisco, not bad. Good numbers there, but he really kind of stood out this year at Arizona State. He slugged 725 for them. That's pretty impressive. And as you mentioned, power speed combo with good plate discipline, and that's kind of what we're seeing so far in the minors too, and that's also what STS is picking up on him. They project him right now, and granted, it's a small sample size, just 140 plate appearances, but they project Luke Keeschall to hit 13 home runs and 17 stolen bases with good, solid plate discipline. So that's not too bad. I just think it's a little early to get too excited. He's a second-round pick. We don't know. The pedigree's not like top shelf, but it's decent. The results are decent, but not top shelf. So I think we're just kind of in wait-and-see mode a little bit until we know just a little bit more. But this is a guy you want to watch, I think. I'm putting him in the he's a guy to watch category for now.
Yeah, for sure.
The Twins' second baseman is whom?
We got Edouard Julien, Brian.
Yeah. Oh, Julien's there. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that we had as our number one last year. When we did this top 10, he was number one. So supplanting him is not as easy as a task as I think you were thinking. But he has defensive limitations, or supposedly does. So, there's a chance that if Keeschall plays better defense, that they find another position for Julien.
And Keeschall's got a big body. I mean, he's 6'1", 190. But let's not just say he's 5'8", 150 pounds running around the diamond. Maybe he's a kid that can grow into that body and move off that position. So I don't know if he'll be a second baseman, because Julien is doing very well as a second baseman.
And they also have Jorge Polanco. So I mean, they've got some guys in there that you'd have to consider. There's Carlos Correa and Royce Lewis in there, that they're all kind of jockeying for positions. But I think at the end of the day, they'll find a way to get the players that can play into the lineup. So I'm not concerned about that terribly. It's just a matter of whether it's to be believed so far in 140 plate appearances.
Sure.
I think I'm excited here. I don't want to say I'm go get him, but I am excited. This is one of those Hawkeyes that I want to talk about, that just watch him those first couple months. If he's having a big start to the year, maybe you need to go get him.
Yeah.
Agreed.
As I was looking up Luke Keeschall, I was having a tough time thinking of blockers and stuff like that. Somebody that we're going to omit tonight, and I don't believe you mentioned him, is Tyler Black.
Oh, yeah. He's at a different position. We're going to have him at third base. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. As I looked at it, I was like, we're missing Tyler Black on here.
That would be a glaring omission, I think.
Yeah, that would have been huge. He's at third.
Yeah.
Third. He was primarily a second baseman last year, so that's where the confusion probably comes in. But he was almost exclusively third base and played a little outfield this year, I think.
Okay.
That's the challenge with vetting out the positions, because I go a little bit deeper than what we have as the assigned position on STS, right? Like, I'm double checking on all these guys before we start putting together these lists. So he's one of the guys that I definitely looked at.
All right. Well, let's jump into number 7. Without further ado, number 7, we got William Bergolla. William Bergolla is a 5'11", 165 pound 19-year-old with the Single A affiliate Phillies. He's with the Clearwater Threshers. He was born 10/20/2004 in Valencia, Venezuela. I don't have a lot on this guy, but I'll burn through his stats of this year. Yeah, he played in the DSL in 2022 for 71 at bats, but just in 2023, He had 192 at bats. His average was 255, on base of 351, slug 286. That slugging percentage is a little bit scary. On base plus slugging is 637. 0 home runs, 2 stolen bases. He got caught 5 times, 2 doubles, 2 triples. The big one, I think both of you guys are going to point out, is his walk to strikeouts. He only had 17 strikeouts and 30 walks. So there's where your on base is way higher than your slugging. No home runs, walking a lot. Go ahead and get into it, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that stands out is, I mean, he's walking more than he's striking out, which is always good. Would like to see more stolen bases, especially for 228 plate appearances this year. Yeah. Only 2 stolen bases, which is a little off. But like I said, who knows what they wanted him to do at single A. So yeah, I'm really not too worried about that. Slugging, of course, is concerning at 286. But I'm always going to give the benefit of doubt first year over in the States, 18 years old. Jesus. Just we'll see a couple years from now, but I mean,
he's not even a month past turning 19. He was 18 all year long stateside. So that's a very good thing to bring up. A very young kid, and he's already playing stateside. I love that, bringing that up.
So I'm looking through this. I thought he was somebody that I wrote up this year in our player highlights, and I'm not finding him. So maybe I did not write him up, but I know I at least thought about it. To me, this guy is William Bergolla is super interesting because of the things that you touched on. He was 18 years old, played the whole season at 18 at the single A level. That's an advanced assignment for an 18-year-old.
Yeah. And
he did it with like flat out dominating plate discipline, which you don't see very often. 0 power, no stolen bases to speak of. Like, it's bat first, even though the results were not even that inspiring, right? But the plate discipline is so advanced that it has me thinking that, we're talking about an 18-year-old kid that's 160 pounds. He's got plenty of time to fill out. He can grow in power. I think he can grow in his capabilities. So I'm really interested in him. I think he's somebody you want to keep an eye on. And in fact, STS is bumping him up in the rankings here because of perceived bad luck, right? It's his numbers and his projections, looking without regression, are not that inspiring, minus the great plate discipline. But his luck has been so bad that he's adjusted a little bit for that in the rankings. So I'm really intrigued by Bergolla, and I think that he's somebody that you don't necessarily go get right now because you got some time to wait and see. But he's definitely somebody worth being on your watch list, and I think that there's more potential here than I'm seeing with a lot of the other guys that we've already talked about, minus maybe Britt.
Maybe a Luis Ariz type.
I was going to say that as well.
Ryan. Yeah, potentially.
Could you see that?
Look.
Yeah, potentially you could see an Ariz type of outcome here.
Although Ariz never hit below. Yeah.
And there's always that potential. Well, sure. Ariz was, I don't think he was ever playing like 18 at single A. So
he was 19.
He was 19. Yeah. So I mean, there's always the potential that Bergolla taps into some power. Sure. If he doesn't, then I think we're maybe talking about a Ariz type of talent here. If he does, I mean, hold on.
Yeah,
I guess.
One thing I like to say about a profile like this is, you can gain strength, you can mature into home runs or speed even. You can't really train an eye. And right now he's got an eye that looks really, really good. Being able to hold off those, we're probably talking about 20 to 25-year-old pitchers that are in single A. It's pretty impressive what he's doing.
Yeah.
I've said this for years, and I probably too loudly, but power's usually the last thing to show up. Yeah. You got a guy with a good eye, and they're showing that they can consistently hit. I think it was Mookie Betts that had 0 home runs in his first 2 seasons. And then all of a sudden, now he's a major leaguer. He was showing good bat capabilities, and all of a sudden, as a major leaguer, he's a 30 home run guy. Are we going to see that from Bergola? That would be like, the outlier case, but it's something worth watching and making sure that you're keeping your pulse on. That's for sure.
It's better than striking out at 45% of the time.
That is correct.
All right, William Bergola, you guys. Ross was kind of a wait and see sort of thing. He's not a go.
I'm excited about him, but I don't think he's like a grab him right now. See him fulfill some of that potential first, and then grab him if he does.
Brian?
I mean, he's probably outside the top 500 prospects that you want to be looking at, but he's interesting.
Guys, we're in a pretty deep draft right now. Is his name going to pop up here real quick?
I added him to my queue, so.
I love it. I love it.
Never should have done this podcast.
Yeah.
Can you post this tomorrow, like right on the website? Because these guys' names are going to just fly off the
That's right, yeah.
All right. We are numbered 6 already, guys. We are burning through it. And here he comes. Here comes the reason that I chose my beer tonight. I said, what's the plural for goose? It's geese. It's not how you pronounce his name, but this guy's name is Thomas Sagisi. It's Ross, please say it for me because it's just stuck in my head.
Sagisi. Thomas Sagisi. But we've got a nickname for Sagisi. Now moving forward, it's Goose.
Yeah, go get Goose.
Go Goose.
Go get Goose. So Thomas Goose Sagisi was in our player highlights last year. And I'm a big fan here. I think we're all going to be big fans as we start running through this. I think this name is probably on the top of everybody's heads as talking about second base prospects. If he's not, he should be. I'm a big fan. We got a 21-year-old that is with the AAA affiliate for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's 5'11", 175 pounds. He was born in 2002, drafted in 2020 by the Texas Rangers, round 5'1", pick 145 overall, out of California high school. Do you want me to break down the whole shebang, or let's just do 2023? What do you think?
Well, he was a top 10 guy for us last year. In fact, he might have been higher than he is this year. Last year,
I believe he was. I believe he was number 3.
We probably focus on just this year. The numbers last year were really good too. It's worth touching on maybe the OPS or something.
Yeah, for sure. So last year he had 401 at bats. His OPS was 867. Strikeouts and walks, 97 strikeouts, 30 walks, 15 home runs, 12 stolen bases. Everything was right there for us last year. I was excited. We touched on it. We were excited. But this year, two different affiliates with the AA with the trade. He had 555 at bats through those 2 teams in AA, and then got the call up to AAA for another 58 at bats. But 558 at bats over the whole year. He batted .306. On-base percentage of .374, slugged .530, hit our mark of 900 with on-base plus slugging at .904, 26 home runs, 12 stolen bases, got caught stealing twice, 144 strikeouts is a little high, but he walked 52 times, 34 doubles, 6 triples. Goose. Goose is the man.
I feel like Goose has just got the it factor.
He does.
You know, I don't know what it is, but this is a guy we really liked last year, and he's still doing it this year. And for some reason, he's still slept on. He just continues to show up, and he continues to produce, and he is producing eye-popping numbers. And even I even think Scout the Statline is sleeping on him a little bit here at number 6. I think that's too low. I have him as a top 50 prospect. He ranks really high on the formulated consensus. He's the number 121 overall prospect. Like, he makes it work. The one thing that he doesn't have really going in his favor is excellent plate discipline, but he hits for average. He hits for power. He's better on the base paths than expected, and I think he's a better defender than people expect as well. So he just has the it factor, and I don't know what that is, just work ethic or what, you know, and I'm pulling that out. I don't know if he's got a great work ethic, but something seems to work really well for him. And he looks like he's built, you know, like he's just like a compact built guy. When I see him hit a dinger, it doesn't look like it's like it's barely getting out of the field. It looks like it's like he smashed that thing. So I'm a big fan of Thomas Sajaci. Goose, big fan of him, and I say go get him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you can get him, that's I don't know if you're going to be buying low on him.
Maybe not buying low, but he's still underrated. That's the thing. So, I mean, to me, that is buying low. I think he's still underrated by the major publications out there.
Sure.
It would have been better to get him last year, but I don't think you're too late.
I'm not even worried about his plate discipline, because with guys that can consistently hit 300, I don't want them taking walks. I want them putting the ball in play. And he has shown a knack for it, and he's still running just below 10% walk rate. He's someone I wrote up in one of the articles, I think, for impact prospects for 2024. I can see a path to playing time, barring any free agent acquisitions by the Cardinals. But I could see him coming up in the May-June timeframe if he starts off hot in AAA.
He should be up next year. He should be up next year, no doubt.
I think he'll be one of those sneaky guys that, if in non-dynasty leagues, that you can go out and acquire early May or something for $1 or $2, and then he can be a league winner, because I think he, like you said, he's a baseball player. Like, you look at him and he's just a baseball player.
That's a great way to put it. I love that.
Well, and it's so, we're obviously all analytically minded here, but he's a freaking baseball player.
That's the it factor, maybe, you know?
Yeah, I'd love to quantify it, but like, when you see him play, it's just, and I've watched a few games on MLB or MILB TV and all that, and he's just a player, man. I love him.
Well, it's funny that you say that. Obviously, we're looking for prospects and stuff like that, but I'll kind of catapult off what you just said. I've watched a couple games too, and he stands out on the field.
Yeah.
Like, you know that he's the best player on the field.
Sure.
And that's pretty neat. And it doesn't even have to be an impact player or something like that. It could be a routine ground ball that he tosses underhand over to first, and I'm like, that's the best player on the field. He just looks the part, and then the stats prove it.
Yeah, I love it. Go get Thomas Sajaci. Go get Goose. Go get him.
Goose. I love we got to get Goose on this podcast.
He should, Brian, get after it. Come on, we need Goose out here.
He looks like he'd drink a beer with us.
For sure.
Is he 21 yet? Yes, he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he'll be 22 in April.
Well, that's another. He's so damn young too, and he's already AAA.
Yeah, and I think we all are in agreement that he'll be in the major leagues next year at 22 years old.
Yep.
Go get him.